Hello guys, so today we're going to look at seasonality, which is the first lesson in your part of your seasonal celebrations project. We need to know lots of things about seasonality. So what does seasonality mean? What does in season mean? Things like that. So that's what we're going to do in today's lesson. What is seasonality? So it's when fruits and vegetables, they grow in cycles and they in season they're harvested, and usually they are the most delicious and colourful at that time. Usually we kind of think fruits and vegetables are the things that are in season, but this also happens to some meat and fish as well. Okay, so what do we think the advantages are to buying in season? Okay, so have a go at writing that down on your pieces of paper in that question box. If you need more time, pause the video now and then restart it back up when you've finished. So what are the advantages? There's loads of advantages for buying foods that are in season. It means it's much fresher. It usually has a better flavour. It's got better texture, so it's not started to degrade. It hasn't gotten soggy. Okay, and it's got a really lovely colour. It's also at its absolute optimal nutritional value, which means that it's really good for you. Other benefits are things that are in season are usually cheaper. Okay, that's because they're more in abundance, there's more of it. It can help support local growers, so foods that are local to you will be in season, they'll be cheaper because they're around at the right time. What kind of foods or ranges of ingredient were found? Okay, we usually kind of expect to have a full range of ingredients, so even in the middle of winter we might want something like strawberries. Okay, we're used to buying foods that are out of season. We can find raspberries most of the year round, we can find lettuce, we can find tomatoes. Okay, so there's quite a lot of things that as a consumer that we can buy all year round. However, it doesn't mean it's necessarily in season at that time. All of this food in front of you that you can see is in season during the summer, but we can buy it whenever we like. Foods are usually available throughout the year because they've been imported from different countries. So I know that when I used to work in kitchens that we bought iceberg lettuce, loads and loads of iceberg lettuce, and it would usually come from Spain because it was a dependable crop. Okay, unfortunately things that aren't in season are imported from different countries, which might mean that they come from miles and miles away. One of the things that I can think about is usually asparagus. The asparagus you get in supermarkets outside spring is usually from Mexico or Peru, so think how far that has travelled. Madness, isn't it? Okay, why do you think some consumers are concerned about how far their ingredients might have travelled? Okay, write that down on your piece of paper. So the UK imports about half of its food, give or take. Lots of people are concerned about where their food comes from, okay, and how far it's travelled. Reducing this the distance can help lessen the impact. Okay, so how can you ensure as a consumer that you reduce the distance that your food has travelled, do you think? Write that down. So seasonal food in the UK. As the weather changes across the world, so does the fresh food that's available. So if we think about the UK, we've got 4 main seasons, haven't we? We've got spring, summer, autumn and winter. I want you on your pieces of paper to name 5 foods that you think are available in each of these seasons. Okay, Remember, it's not just the fruit and vegetables that are available, it can also be the fish and meat as well. I will pause the video here and then we will go on to the next slide afterwards. So 5 foods that are available in each of the seasons. Okay, let's see how you did. In spring, there are all of these lovely, lovely things that we can eat. So we've got asparagus. Usually asparagus we find around St. George's Day, or it becomes seasonal around St. George's Day, which is the 23rd of April. Okay, we've got carrots, cauliflowers, celeriac, curly kale, purple sprouting broccoli, spinach, spring greens and watercress. In spring, we're coming out of winter, so we've still got quite a lot of green leafy vegetables. The fruit are things like gooseberries and rhubarb. Yorkshire has a tradition of growing rhubarb. Okay, it's called forced Yorkshire rhubarb, and it grows in the dark, and it grows really fast. When you grow it, you can hear it growing because it kind of like snaps and crackles. It's quite amazing. Other things that are ready to eat in spring are beef, chicken, definitely spring lamb. Okay, so around March and April time we've got Easter, and it's a tradition in the UK to have lamb for Easter, and that's probably because it's in season. We've also got loads of different fish, so usually these fish are cheaper at this time than any other. Okay, see whether any of your things that you wrote down for summer are on here. So we've got more exciting things because it's more summery. So we've got broad beans, okay, courgettes, fennel, fresh peas and green beans, lettuce, new potatoes, radish, runner beans, tomatoes. You might even grow some of these yourself. So during the summer, from June to September, we can harvest these things. Again, we've got lovely fruit that is growing. So we've got blueberries, currants of different kinds, green gages, which are a little bit like plums, not quite like plums, loganberries, plums, which are more towards September time, raspberries, strawberries, and even tayberries. Meat, we've got beef, chicken, lamb, pork, salt marsh lamb, and venison. Okay, venison is deer, and the fish we've got is crab, pilchards and wild salmon. They're all season around about now. How about autumn? So around autumn time, what's probably the first thing you think about is probably pumpkins, isn't it? Because it's getting towards Halloween, so there's usually loads of pumpkins about, and they're really cheap as well. Other things that pop around are field mushrooms. Please don't go and pick any mushrooms because you probably don't know the right ones to pick, and it's very dangerous if you do, so don't do that. It's coming to the end of lettuce season. We've got marrows. Potatoes are definitely more in season now. What we said before was pumpkin, rocket, which is another type of lettuce, squashes, which is what pumpkins are the family of, sweet corn. I love sweet corn in season, it's my favourite. Watercress. Also fruit, we've got the apples, blackberries, damsons, elderberries, plums, sloes, pears, all lovely things that you can put into crumbles, and it's getting towards that kind of darker nights, and you kind of want something delicious to go with that. Fish wise, we've got some brill, dabs even, Dover sole, flounders, oysters, skate. Okay, and meat, we are looking at chicken, grouse, which is a little bird, heather fed lamb, pork, and again venison. It's a really good venison season. And finally, in winter, something that's in common with most of these vegetables is they're really big green leafy vegetables. And green leafy vegetables survive because they've got loads of chlorophyll, which you might have heard that word in science, got loads of chlorophyll in, and that helps them absorb more sunlight, particularly when the sunlight's really weak. So green leafy vegetables grow a lot during that time. We've got our favourite kind of leeks, parsnips, potatoes. And then we've got fruit, which apples, pears and quinces. Quinces are one of my favourite fruits. Their texture is kind of like a pear, and then it smells really sweet and floral like flowers. It's really lovely. Fish, we've got scallops and mussels and grey mullet. And then meat, we've got chicken, goose, partridge, pheasant, turkey, venison and wild duck. Okay, so there's lots of different things to eat in different seasons.